Hiya, my name's Charlie and welcome to my channel and welcome to my weekly reads. How are you guys? What have you been up to this week? Let me know in the comments below. It's going kind of like nice and mild. The weather's warming up here in the UK, so hopefully this is a good sign of better things to come. So yeah. Before I get into all the natty stuff though, I'm going to tell you what books I read after the books that I've read. I've actually got, as you probably tell from the title, I've got a box of Lush that was delivered. So I thought it would be fun to open that on camera. I did order it, so I do know what's in there, even though I've got like a forgetful brain. So I'll still be surprised. But yeah, we'll open that together and go through it all together. I thought that might be fun. But that'll be after. So so like I said, the first book that I finished like this last week since I last spoke to you was An Heir To Murder by my lovely friend Charles Heathcote, picture on screen. I read this on my Kindle and I did a buddy read of this with the lovely Kelly. I just had the best buddy reading experience reading it with her. It was so much fun. In case you guys don't know, this is a murder mystery and we follow Alice Valentine and she meets Marmaduke Featherstone and they sort of become like detectives together. Well, they sort of go on an investigation together and it's just so much fun, and it also references loads of characters from Charlie's previous books, although you don't need to have read Charlie's previous books to appreciate this. But for the people that have read Charlie's previous books, there's those little like nuggety Easter eggy type things which me and Kelly were having so much fun hunting out. There's one scene in particular where Alice goes round to Doris's house and she stood outside trembling, and it's quite funny. It was making me laugh. So yeah, I highly recommend it. We're going to be doing a whole live show on that, so I'm going to go into loads and loads of detail on that with Charlie. I've put the date on screen when that is in a couple of weeks. I think it's sort of mid-May, I think. Yeah, so date on screen and date in the description. And also in the description there'll be places where you can buy Charlie's book if you want to still join in, and there's still plenty of time before we actually talk about the book. Right, so that's that. Then I also picked up, and basically I read this in like just over 2 days, I think, because this isn't the kind of book so this is Transwritten by Christine Burns. This book does what it says on the tin. It's told in numerous chapters, numerous contributors. Transwritten chronicles this journey in the words of those who were there to witness a marginalised group develop into the visible phenomenon we see today. Here is everything you always wanted to know about the background of the trans community but never knew how to ask. Yeah, and this is basically, so there's like contributors, like, so for instance, for example, there is a lady, one of the ladies that helped create Mermaids. There is also a chapter by Mark Rees, who I found out I'd never heard of before, but he was a leading activist in the trans community in the from the early 1970s. Mark Rees is a trans man and he was basically fighting for trans rights since then, and there's a whole section he was this is before the Gender Recognition Act had actually happened, and he was trying to basically create something similar, but unfortunately, and it all went over to abroad and into the European courts, but unfortunately that experience failed. But it still was a landmark case and basically paved the way for what was then to the future to come of that sort of similar things. And also, so yeah, I found out loads about him. There's just so many things in this book. There was also a chapter on another organisation called Gendered Intelligence by one of the organisers of that. There's also another chapter by Fox Fisher, who was another amazing trans writer, non-binary trans writer, who also incidentally references Lewis Hancock. I read Lewis Hancock's graphic memoir, which is a memoir sort of aimed at teens, but chronicling his experiences growing up as a trans teen. But yeah, this was just, like I said, I sped through it in 2 days. It's very information heavy. I will show you, I'll put on screen the chapters. I'll read you some basically the chapters. There's a dedication at the front to Mermaids, which is the Mermaids charity, which I just love so much because my family has utilised Mermaids services and they are amazing. All of the people that work there are just like the best people ever, I think. Yeah, so it's broken up into 3 parts. The first part is part 1, survival. I'll put an image on screen of that. Then the part 2 is activism. And then there's part, so I'll put an image of the activism chapter on screen. You can pause it and if you want to. Then part 3 is growth. I think the last third you hear more, throughout the book, obviously it's talking about trans people as a whole, but there's less focus, I think, on non-binary people, being honest. So that's the only thing that kind of this book lacked slightly. So if you're after anything, there are voices, there are non-binary voices, but it's more towards the last third of the book, I would say, and it's still only then, there's only a few chapters sort of saying anything about it. A non-fiction recommendation about non-binary identities. I've got Non-Binary Lives, I think I've got that upstairs on my shelves, which is a really super interesting non-fiction which is curated full of non-binary voices. So if that's something you're after, like I said, this is the only thing this is the only thing that is lacking, I would say, in this. It kind of, I would say, just to balance it out a bit more, but really it's more the history of being trans through Britain, like from the like I say, the last 50 years, maybe, chronicling the last 50 years. But yeah, you wouldn't, for a non-fiction, you wouldn't think I would have got through it as fast as I did. I couldn't put it down. It's very, very readable. Some places are a little bit drier than others, but yeah, on the whole, such a great book, and I highly, highly recommend it to, like, especially if you're living in the UK. Like, I think it's just so interesting. Yeah, I don't know why more people aren't talking about this book. This book is blooming brilliant. I feel like I might even want to get myself a copy of it. This is a library copy, so yeah. Right, then the next book I finished was Cemetry Boys by Aiden Thomas. Aiden Thomas is trans mask non-binary author, and I just love their actually this is the only I've read 2. This is the first book I ever read by them, but I just love this book so much. This book lives on my favourite shelves. This is the second time I've read it. I think it's the second time, and I just love it so much. I still loved it on the reread. In this book we follow Yadriel, who is basically at the beginning of the book, he's desperate to be so Yadriel is a trans boy, and he's desperate to be to become a brujo, and in his family, I think he just they sort of, I don't really think they see him in that way, and I don't know whether they really believe that he could be this. This is like a magical thing in the Latinx communities, so yeah, and it's just like, so you've got this like element of like of Yadiel trying to prove his identity. You've also got, then he goes into this cemetery to try and enact this ceremony to be a brujo. So this is obviously filled with like magical realism, and they sort of, he accidentally conjures up the ghost of like seemingly the ghost of a dead boy living in the graveyard. And so we meet Julian in this book, which is this character here, and yeah, it's basically like an adventure story. There's a love story, adventure story, sort of a bit of a mystery, stuff to do with identity, stuff to do with, it's just so much in here, but I really, really loved it. And the only, again, upon a reread, I did pick up was that there's a lot of breaths being, the breath that he exhaled and the breath that he held, like, there's a lot of breaths. You know, it's like, it was like a repeated phrase throughout that was, by the end, was starting to annoy me a little bit. So I have knocked it down from a 5-star to like a 4.75, but this is going to live on my favourite shelf still, and I still adore this book. So yeah, that was just like a little niggly phrase that kept being repeated over and over. But apart from that, yeah, wonderful YA adventure story / love story / whatever you want to call it. I loved it. And right, so that's that. Then on to the books that I'm currently reading. I'm currently reading, because I wanted to this whole month I want to just read by whim, and so I picked up, I've been desperate to read this book as soon as I picked it, actually before I picked it up. This is like one of my anticipated releases of the year. The book in question is Maame by Jessica George. This was one I was hoping that was going to be listed for the Women's Prize, but alas, it was not. In this book we follow Maddie, who at the beginning of the book is living at home with her parents. Her parents don't have the healthiest marriage, I would say. They're not, I feel like they're sort of like on the verge of separation, but they're just sort of staying together, it seems, out of convenience at the beginning of the book. But so her father has Parkinson's disease, and so Maddie has to kind of often play a role at the beginning of the book, especially heavily. She's playing the role of a carer for him. There is a carer that comes in to look after her father, but yeah, mostly Maddie is sort of, I feel like she sort of takes that responsibility on. She does have a brother called James, but yeah, again, it's just sort of put on Maddie's shoulders. I feel like she weighs it on her shoulders. Her mother also, another thing with her mother is is from Ghana, and she lived basically every other year. She spends a whole year living in Ghana. So yeah, this is like, and so there's a tipping point in the book where basically I think she really just wants to be her. She wants to find her own identity aside from all of those things, and it's when that's basically what this book is about, her sort of discovering herself, which I think that's why it says I was raised to be Maame, but now I want to be me. And yeah, that's her. Maame is her family sort of name, I would say. Yeah. And Maame has many meanings in Twi, but in my case it means woman. So yeah, that's it. This is just, I really enjoyed the writing of this. I'm about just over a third of the way into it. Yeah, and this is just such a great book. It's got like multimedia elements into it as well. So you get like text messages and it sort of reminds me of like Bridget Jones in the sense of there's like lists in there as well. So that's another element to it. It's a very easy read in lots of ways, but then also covering these heavier themes. The parts where she's caring for her father, like actually, I think there's a bit that actually made me cry. There's a moment with her father where she's looking after him, and it's just really beautifully written. It was just, yeah, it moved me a lot. But yeah, I can't wait to sort of finish this over the bank holiday. But yeah, that's that. Then also on audiobook, because I finished Cemetry Boys, was my sort of, I read it physically and listened to the audiobook of it. Then I decided to, after that was finished, I decided last night, literally just last night, I picked up River Sing Me Home by Eleanor Shearer. This is on Scribd. I'll put the image on screen, obviously. And this is a book, I think it's about, so I've literally only just started it, but it's about a mother, and I think she's separated from her children because she's working on this slavery plantation in Barbados, I think. And then it's sort of like, I don't know whether it's about her being reunited with the children. I can't quite remember, but I wanted to go into this kind of knowing as little as possible so I can sort of discover it a bit more myself. That this is one that, again, I thought could have been listed for the Women's Prize, but wasn't. Yeah, we'll see. I haven't really got any strong thoughts on it at the moment. I've only literally read like maybe 1 or 2 chapters. It's very early doors into it. But that's that. So those are my current reads. That's what I've read. Now so in terms of my week, I haven't really got to say a lot about my week. We've still been doing our live shows. Oh, I know what I was going to say. So the last Sunday's one we obviously did with Kia the Scrivener. She was amazing. Kia, you were brilliant. Then on Tuesday night, we had Kieran come onto my channel and we did a live show with him. And it was really fun. We had 2 hours of basically talking to him. And there's one bit where he even threw a book out. We were asking him about, I think I asked him what's the farthest he's thrown a book, because in his videos, he's obviously quite famous for throwing books. And at which point he got a book and threw it out the window. So if you haven't seen the live shows with either Kia from Sunday or Kieran from Tuesday, I will link them in the description. Next Tuesday we've got, so Tuesday the 9th I think it is, we've got the lovely Lauren and the Books. She's going to be over on Alice's channel, so that's for the next Plod along. Tuesday night at 8 PM, so BST, Alice's channel. Links in the obviously I'll put links in the description and all the details, etc. So yeah, that's going to be so much fun. We're looking forward to chatting with Lauren. It's going to be good. Yeah, the Plod along's been so much fun. You guys are so brilliant. We literally love talking to you guys every single week. We have so much fun, and yeah, it's just been it's definitely been one of my highlights for the year. But now, apart from all the Plod stuff, so yeah, I might insert some footage. I'm going to Ardingly tomorrow, which is a little bit away from where I live, and I'm going to go. Ardingly has a special meaning because it's the place where my dad was born. It's a village where my dad grew up when he was younger. And so I'm going to go down there with a friend, and then we're going to go down to Wakehurst Place and go and see loads of Bluebells and stuff like that. So yeah, that's going to be a special day. So I'll insert some footage after that if I have any. If not, an editing Denali can edit all this off. Was really beautiful footage, wasn't it? I just know. So now the bit that hopefully you guys will be excited for, I'm going to unbox my Lush. So I have got I ordered was it at the weekend I ordered this? Lush are quite good. I don't want my address. No. I got a big box of Lush that I ordered at the weekend as a special treat because I was speaking to Victoria because of last week, because I was like, oh, I've just been feeling really. Last week was a really bad like fatigue week, and I was really struggling, and so my husband was like, do you know what, why don't we just order a big box of Lush and sort of cheer ourselves up, because sometimes we do this and it's sort of like a way, it's another thing we do for sort of self-care. So I ordered quite a few little bits, or a few bits for us all, for my whole family. So it's not just all for me, and if you watch my channel regularly you will know the bits that are for me. And then I've also got some extra kind of fun bits, but we'll see it as we go. So here we go. Do you guys get Lush? Let me know what your favourites are from Lush. I'm going to try it and unbox it. I've got a knife. Also, I want to note that everyone, I recommend scissors rather than a knife, but I couldn't find any scissors when I was looking, so thus the knife. Oh my gosh, the smell of this, like I can't even tell you. I'll try and lift it up so you can see. And so like dive in, literally, and see. Oh. I can see one of the big ones first of all. I think there's two of these in here. So on the website, obviously you guys know that, they probably know that the Super Mario film has been released recently. So Lush has got on their website, they had some like bath bombs. These are like ginormous bath bombs. Can you see how big they are? And I think they have like various things inside, like mushrooms or like funny like Mario type things. So yeah, these ones are for my husband. I think this is what the bath bombs are. I'm normally a bubble bar person, as you will see. Right, here we go. Yeah, this is the next one. See, this is exactly the same thing. Obviously, I think this is a different type though, because I ordered two. I think there was originally 4 different types, but when we ordered, there was only 2 left. So yeah, can we see? Bath bombs have a certain bath bomb type scent. Right, here we go. Oh. We've got, I think this is Lucky Cat. This is one's for my daughter. So that's very exciting. And this is a bubble bar and it's glittery pink. Now my hands are all glittery pink. That smells amazing. Oh, alright, here we go. We've also got the rainbow one. This is for my eldest. This is for ours. This is another bubble bar. This smells more like raspberry. It's very fruity. It's quite fun. Oh. This is one of my usual things. If you guys watch me regularly, you guys will know. This is the sleepy ones. This is definitely lavender. This is amazing. And yeah, I can have like 5 or 6 baths out of this because it's huge. You just break little corners off and it just, honestly, the amount of bubbles, and especially I've got new taps recently and we get even more bubbles than usual. So this will probably do even more baths potentially. Right, here we go. Here we go. This is another one that you guys will know. It's rose jam. I think there's 2 of these in here. This is my favourite smell. This is my favourite smell ever. Probably one of my favourite smells in the entire universe. I love the smell of rose jam. Tell me in the comments below, do you like rose jam? It's my favourite Lush scent. If you've got a favourite Lush scent, let me know what your favourite Lush scent is. But I know there's 2 of those in there, so... Oh, here we go. We've got another one. This is the other rose jam. We've got 2 rose jams. I can never not have rose jams. These are my basic things. I can't remember what scent this is and what name it is, but it's basically, I know it's a bubble bar obviously, and it's a smiley face. I think this could be for my daughter or us. Is it for us? Is it ours? Because I think we ordered 2 each for each of us. I think that's right. Right. Oh, I found something else. Oh, this one's for Oscar, actually. I'm lying. So that was the smiley face was for Belle, and then this is for Oscar, so this must be the last thing. Yes. And it's a unicorn horn, and this smells kind of like, what's the one that it kind of smells snow fairy. This one smells like snow fairy, and it's again very sparkly and lovely. I think that is it. We have 2 each, so except for me who gets 3 because of the fact that I have to have 2 rose jams. So yeah, that was it. Now I've got this everywhere in the house. So let me know, guys, know how you are. Let me know in the comments below. Let me know how your week's been. Let me know what you're up to. Are you celebrating for the are you doing anything for the coronation? I believe that my neighbours, we are all having a street party. We love a good street party here, and any excuses to get together and have a good old natter with everybody. So yeah, that'll be loads of fun, no doubt, as long as the weather holds out. So yeah, that'll be, basically we all go out of our houses, and we'll be at the top of by my local park. Yeah, right. So yeah, take care everybody, and sending you lots of love.